Hello students, today we are going to start our next chapter as we have completed the previous chapter, that is photosynthesis in plants. After that we are going to start with the new chapter, that is respiration in plants. In the photosynthesis the food is formed, and in the process of respiration that food is utilized to get energy in particular plant cell. Then in this chapter, the main topics which we have to study are, first of all, what is respiration, then types of respiration, then how the breakdown of food take place in the plant cells, that is the mechanism of respiration, and the mechanism, it involves the following steps, which involves glycolysis, in which the glucose is firstly break down to pyruvate in the cytoplasm. After that, this pyruvate, it enters the mitochondria and undergoes the Krebs cycle. In this Krebs cycle, the carbon dioxide is released and formation of ATP takes place. This ATP synthesis occurs in the presence of oxygen, hence it is termed as oxidative phosphorylation, and ultimately the respiratory quotient means the ratio of oxygen and carbon dioxide required in particular plant. So let's start the chapter. Respiration. What is respiration? Respiration is simply the breakdown of complex food substances which are generally formed in the process of photosynthesis. So every food substance, first of all, it comes in its simplest form, that is the glucose, and this glucose, it is further broken down into different elements, that is termed as pyruvate or pyruvic acid. So breakdown of complex food substances into simpler one by breaking the carbon-carbon bonds to liberate the considerable amount of energy from that particular bonds is termed as respiration. This occurs at cellular level in multicellular organisms. So on the basis of oxygen dependence, the respiration, it can be categorized as aerobic and anaerobic. In aerobic respiration, the oxygen is used, means the respiration is dependent of oxygen, and in anaerobic it is independent of oxygen, means it doesn't make use of oxygen. The site of cellular respiration is mitochondria and cytoplasm, because the pyruvic acid, which is the first step, glycolysis, which is first step in respiration, it occurs in cytoplasm, whereas the fate of pyruvic acid to carbon dioxide is determined in mitochondria. So the site of respiration is mitochondria as well as cytoplasm, but the site of oxidative respiration or the aerobic respiration is typically mitochondria. So what is the mechanism of respiration? Mechanism of respiration, it first involves the breakdown of glucose to pyruvic acid, and this breakdown of glucose to pyruvic acid is termed as glycolysis. The glycolysis, it involves a series of various steps which result in the formation of pyruvic acid from glucose. One glucose molecule, it contains of 6 carbon, and the pyruvic acid, it is containing 3 carbon. So a 6 carbon compound glucose, it is broken down into 2 molecules of 3 carbon compound, that is pyruvic acid, means one glucose molecule, it is broken down into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. So how this reaction take place, or how the glycolysis it occurs? The glycolysis, it starts with the enter of glucose in the cell cytoplasm. The glucose, it is first converted to glucose 6-phosphate by the action of enzyme kinase. The kinase enzyme, it is having the activity of phosphorylation, means addition of a phosphate molecule to any particular substance. So ATP, it is hydrolyzed into ADP, and that phosphate, which is result from the hydrolysis of ATP into ADP and inorganic phosphate, that inorganic phosphate is used for the phosphorylation of glucose molecule, and this glucose, it is converted into glucose 6-phosphate. After that, the glucose 6-phosphate, it is isomerized to fructose 6-phosphate with the help of enzyme isomerase. The fructose 6-phosphate further involve hydrolysis of another ATP molecule, and that hydrolysis of ATP molecule also involves release of inorganic phosphate, and this inorganic phosphate, it is added to fructose 6-phosphate to form fructose 1,6-biphosphate. Here the enzyme kinase enzyme, but this time it is hexokinase, because it phosphorize a 6 carbon compound fructose molecule. Now this fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, it is then converted to triose phosphate, means a 6 carbon compound, it is broken down to a 3 carbon compounds. From one fructose 1,6-bisphosphate molecule, 2 carbon containing molecule, 3 carbon containing molecules are formed, which are generally triose phosphatase. This triose phosphate involves two types of molecules which are isomers of each other, out of which one is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and one is dihydroxyacetone 3-phosphate. Means dihydroxyl acetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecule, both are isomers of each other, means the glyceraldehyde can be converted into the dihydroxyacetone and the dihydroxyacetone it can be converted to the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecule. This reaction is catalyzed with the enzyme of triose phosphatase, which result in the synthesis of triose phosphate. Now the triose phosphate, the phosphate is present in the third carbon of glyceraldehyde molecule, but then this by reduction of one NAD positive molecule to NADH and H positive molecule, this triose phosphate is converted to triose bisphosphate, means 2 phosphate molecules are added to this, and this triose phosphate, that is the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, that is converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, means 2 phosphate molecules are present in this particular triose phosphate. Now this bisphosphoglyceric acid, it undergoes dephosphorylation, means removal of one phosphate molecule from this molecule and addition of this phosphate molecule to ADP for the formation of ATP, and the now the bisphosphoglyceric 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, that is converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid, means the phosphate that was added at the first carbon during this conversion is now released and an ATP molecule is formed, and the 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid has been converted to 3-phosphoglyceric acid. Now this 3-phosphoglyceric acid, it is converted to 2-phosphoglyceric acid, means the phosphate molecule, it is transported from third carbon to the second carbon. Now the phosphate is present at the second carbon. By hydrolysis by using one water molecule, the 2-phosphoglyceric acid, that is converted to phosphoenol pyruvate, and then by removing phosphate molecule from this phosphoenol pyruvate, one ATP molecule is formed from ADP, and the phosphoenol pyruvate is ultimately converted to pyruvic acid, which is the end product of our glycolysis mechanism, and now the glucose molecule, it has been converted to pyruvate molecule. Here both of these compounds, means both of these triose phosphatases are ultimately converted to pyruvate or the pyruvic acid, hence from one glucose molecule 2 active pyruvate molecules are formed. Now the type of respiration depend on the fate of this pyruvate molecule, whether it undergoes oxidative breakdown or non-oxidative breakdown. If the pyruvate, it undergoes non-oxidative breakdown or oxygen independent breakdown, then the respiration is anaerobic, and that is simply termed as fermentation. The enzyme basically involved in this is termed as gymase enzyme. The end product of fermentation in plants as well as animals are very different from each other. In plants, when glucose converted to pyruvic acid following these particular steps, then this particular pyruvic acid in plants, by using by oxidizing one NADH molecule to NAD positive, ethanol is produced, means pyruvic acid that is converted into ethanol, that is 3 carbon compound is converted to 2 carbon compound molecule by releasing one CO2 molecule. Now this pyruvic acid in animals, it is converted into 3 carbon compound lactic acid, and no CO2 is liberated in animals, and again it uses a NADH molecule which is oxidized to NAD positive molecule. The energy released in this reaction or in this process is very low, or 6 to 7% of energy from pyruvate is only derived. That is too much low for any particular multicellular organism. So if anaerobic oxidation, anaerobic respiration is continued for long time in a particular multicellular organism, then that particular organism may face the death due to absence or due to decrease in the energy released as a result of respiration. So higher organism or the multicellular organism, they always favor the oxidative breakdown of pyruvic acid, so as the maximum of energy can be liberated from this pyruvate molecule and they can use that particular energy for their cellular requirement. The oxidative breakdown of pyruvic acid, it involves oxygen, and the oxygen, it is used in a particular cyclic manner, or a series of steps is repeated in a cyclic way, so that the cycle or the oxidation of the food, it may goes on, and the pyruvic acid, it can be converted to end products by releasing a considerable amount of energy which can be used by cells. The Krebs cycle, it is also termed as TCA cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle, due to formation of first stable compound as tricarboxylic, means the acid which contains 3 carboxylic acid molecules, and that is oxalic acid. The first stable compound, it is formed as oxaloacetic acid, and hence it is termed as TCA cycle also. The TCA cycle, it starts with the formation of acetyl coenzyme A by adding coenzyme A to pyruvate molecule, means the pyruvate molecules plus coenzyme A, this result in the acetyl coenzyme A, and this reaction make use of oxygen. The acetyl coenzyme A, it then the acetyl coenzyme A, it is 2 carbon compound molecule, and the pyruvic acid is 3 carbon compound. So this reaction involves release of 1 CO2 molecule, and then 3 carbon compound pyruvate is converted to 2 carbon compound acetyl coenzyme A by adding coenzyme A to the pyruvate molecule. Then this acetyl coenzyme A enters the citric acid cycle or the TCA cycle. This is also termed as citric acid cycle due to this presence of first molecule, first compound formed as citric acid. The oxaloacetic acid, it combined with the acetyl coenzyme A to form a 6 carbon compound molecule, and that is citric acid. So the first stable compound of TCA cycle is citric acid, and on the behalf of this, it is also termed as citric acid cycle. Now this citric acid, that is converted into isocitrate, and when it is converted into isocitrate, 1 CO2 molecule is released, and NAD positive molecule is oxidized or reduced to NADH plus H positive. Now this isocitrate, it is converted into alpha ketogluteric acid, which again involves release of 1 CO2 molecule. Now the 6 carbon compound molecule is converted to 5 carbon compound molecule alpha ketogluteric acid. This alpha ketogluteric acid, by removal of 1 carbon compound, is converted to succinyl coenzyme A. This succinyl coenzyme A is further converted into succinate or the succinic acid by releasing coenzyme A free, which can be added to next pyruvate molecule, and this step also involves removal of 1 carbon dioxide molecule, reduction of NAD positive to NADH plus H positive, GDP into GDP, and also 1 ATP from ADP. Means along with GDP, 1 ATP molecule is also synthesized during this transition from succinyl coenzyme A to succinic acid. Now this succinic acid, it is converted into malic acid, and this reaction involves reduction of FADH molecule to FADH2 molecule. This malic acid, by reducing 1 NAD positive molecule to NADH and H positive, is again converted into oxaloacetic acid, which is ready to accept to next acetyl coenzyme A molecule, which is formed by hydrolysis, or which is formed by the breakdown or addition of coenzyme A to the pyruvate molecule, so that the cycle it goes on and more carbon dioxide is released and more NADH positive GTP and ATP are formed. These NADH positive the NADH formation involves also release of some protons, and these protons they are released in the intermembranous space, which result in the set of electrochemical gradient between the mitochondrial membrane. So when NAD positive it is reduced to NADH, it results in the release of proton. Along these protons, electrons are also removed. When this NADH is again oxidized in the NADH, it is occurring in the matrix of mitochondria. This NADH is again oxidized to NAD positive, and when this NADH is oxidized to NAD positive, it releases electrons as well as protons. The electrons they are captured or picked up by a system of complexes which involves mainly the cytochrome complexes and also some other pigments such as ubiquinone, hydroxyubiquinone and iron ferrous sulfate. This complex of cytochrome it capture those particular electrons and transport it along their particular system, so that the electrons they can be transported and ultimately reaches to their destination. Now what is the destination for these electrons? The protons really are released to the intermembranous space, means the space present between outer and inner membrane of mitochondria. The protons they are present there, and the electrons they are released in the matrix. Ultimately, by passing through this particular electron transport system, the electron they start to accumulate in the inner surface or the matrix of the mitochondria, and protons they are transported to the outer surface of the inner membrane or in the intermembranous space. When these electrons passes through this particular cytochrome complex, then the water molecule dissociation also take place. When this water molecule dissociate, then oxygen it is consumed to oxidize the protons, and it is result in the formation of H2O molecule, and these it also release some protons, and these protons are also transported to the intermembranous space through the cytochrome complex, but the electrons they are picked up by this cytochrome complex. And the transport of ions, positive ions to outwards and negative ions, accumulation of negative ions towards inner side of the membrane, it result in the set or generation of a particular electrochemical gradient, means the difference in positive and negative charge across a particular semi-permeable membrane, it result in the formation of electrochemical gradient. Gradient is difference which is set across a particular semi-permeable membrane. It may be a concentration gradient, it may be a potential gradient, it may be an electrochemical gradient, it may be proton gradient, may be electron gradient. So gradient is simply a difference which is generated in any particular term or any particular parameter across a semi-permeable membrane. Here the gradient is set for the protons and electrons, means the positive and negative charge. The positive it is outer to the semi-permeable membrane, and negative charge it is accumulating inner to the semi-permeable membrane. It result in the set of electrochemical gradient, and this gradient it is having a high energy too. Now to neutralize this particular ionic concentration in the matrix of mitochondria, the proton they have to travel to the inner surface, but as we know the biomembranes they are impermeable to the ions or repellent to the ions. So the movement of ions it require particular channels. The channel here is provided by the oxysomes. Oxysome they are present on the inner surface of mitochondria, and in the inner membrane of mitochondria, these oxysomes they are consisting of a particular channel which help in the transport of protons from intermembranous space to the matrix of mitochondria, and when these protons pass to the inner membrane to the matrix of the mitochondria, the gradient it is broken down. When the gradient or the electrochemical gradient it breaks the ATPase enzyme present in oxisome, which provide a channel for the movement of protons to the inner membrane or the matrix of the mitochondria, then this energy of the gradient is also broken down, and this energy it is used by enzyme ATP synthetase for the synthesis of ADP from synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate, and formation of this ATP in presence of oxygen, in which oxygen was used for the oxidation of protons as well as of the NADH molecule to release electrons and protons. In the presence of oxygen, formation of ATP from these particular raw material with the help of enzyme ATP synthetase in the oxisome, it is termed as oxidative phosphorylation. Means formation of ATP molecule is phosphorylation, and if this ATP synthesis take place as action of oxygen or oxidation of some particular substances, then it is termed as oxidative phosphorylation. Now this oxidative phosphorylation it result in the formation of ATP molecule, and this ATP it is used as energy currency of cell, and wherever the energy it is required, the ATP molecule is transported that particular site. So what is the structure of oxisome? Oxisome, they are present on the inner membrane, they are embedded in the membrane, and the part that is embedded in the membrane it is base, and also termed as F0 particle. The base it is associated with the help of stop to head molecule, and the head molecule it is termed as F1 particle, and this head molecule it is consisting of enzyme ATPase. F0 to F1 it form a channel for protons. When these protons move through this particular channel, the ATPase synthetase enzyme it use the energy of that protons and fix that energy in formation of phosphate bond between ADP and inorganic phosphate to form ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. From diphosphate, by addition of one phosphate molecule, a triphosphate molecule is formed, and that is termed as oxidative phosphorylation. Respiration it can be considered as an amphibolic pathway. So what is amphibolic? Amphi both, यानी कि वो pathway, वो mechanism which involves catabolism as well as anabolism. Catabolism it involves breakdown, while as anabolism it involves formation of some substances. So respiration it involves breakdown of complex substances to the simpler one, and also the formation of this particular complex substances by using simpler one. So take an example of fats. Each kind of, whether it is a complex carbohydrate, that is any polysaccharide, any fat molecule, any protein molecule, they are ultimately broken down to the glucose, and that glucose it is broken down to the pyruvic acid or the pyruvate, and pyruvate it is converted to acetyl coenzyme. Means carbohydrate, fats, proteins as well as all compounds undergo their most simplest form glucose. Glucose converted into pyruvate, and pyruvate it converted to the acetyl coenzyme so as to complete breakdown of that particular food substances which are absorbed in the form of glucose, and this acetyl coenzyme it enters Krebs cycle for removal of carbon molecules and energy liberation. So this mechanism, when these particular food substances are converted into simpler substances and by their breakdown the energy is liberated in Krebs cycle, that is catabolism. But when our body have to synthesize these molecules, and if there is any scarcity of any particular substrate, then the acetyl coenzyme A, that is removed or extracted from Krebs cycle, and this acetyl coenzyme A again converted into fats or protein molecules, which is termed as anabolism. However, carbohydrate can't be synthesized in our body, but the acetyl coenzyme A, it can be transferred into the fats and protein molecules. So, the respiration, it involves the formation of acetyl coenzyme A as well as breakdown of acetyl coenzyme A. So, it can be considered as an amphibolic pathway. What is the efficiency of a particular substrate to release energy? It can be derived by getting or deriving the respiratory quotient of that particular substrate. The respiratory quotient is simply the ratio of carbon dioxide released to the oxygen consumed in a particular respiratory cycle. So, in one particular respiratory cycle, the respiratory quotient, it depends on the type of substrate. Substrate molecule means the molecule which has to be degraded, which has to be hydrolyzed to release the energy. So, carbohydrate, the general formula of carbohydrate CnH2nON means the number of carbon and oxygen are equal. So, the respiratory quotient, it will be unity or 1 from any particular kind of carbohydrate molecule. For proteins, the carbon molecules, they are more than the oxygen molecules, but the difference is too low. So, the respiratory quotient is lesser than 1, but is approximately near to the 1, means unit value. But in fats, the carbon molecule, they are much lesser than oxygen. So, the respiratory quotient is also much lesser than 1, or it is about 0.3 to 0.5 approximately. So, by getting the respiratory quotient, we can find out the nature of any particular respiratory substance, whether it is a carbohydrate, whether it is a protein, or whether it is a fats. With this, the chapter has been ended. Watch this video carefully, read the chapter. If you face any doubt, any difficulty, then you are free to ask to me anytime. So, for that you have to study first. So, read carefully and study with full concentration.